slept with it that night. I loved it so much. I wonder if Hank Aaron started out that way, dreaming of the big leagues and the Hall of Fame. I'm going to the place where baseball lives. Ruth and Cobb and Joe DiMaggio, sunny days and Willie Mays. You'll be glad you took the trip to Cooperstown, the town where baseball lives.
How does it make you feel?
I got goosebumps.
Hey, that's Ian. And also here we got Hannah
Hey there.
and Jeremy.
Hey, Markley.
And over there is our faithful, trusty engineer, Miles.
Hello. Hello.
He's making coffee. You know who you're hearing? Who is that? Everybody, 1, 2, 3.
Terry Cashman.
The Cash Man himself.
The real Young Money.
This guy has written so many great songs about baseball. And not only baseball, though. He wrote all the songs of singer, quote, songwriter, end quote,
Throw that in quotes, yeah.
Jim Croce. That guy's I mean, those are big songs. I hear them in the grocery store almost every time I go to the grocery store.
I feel
And-
wonder. I heard it just the other day in the grocery store. That reminded me.
Yep.
I feel misled because he's always referred to as a singer-songwriter.
Croce.
Croce.
I was a
Jim
little
Croce.
disappointed when I found that out. Yeah. It's like, damn.
Well, I'm happy for Terry though.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
more,
Terry.
More cash for the Cashman.
But he doesn't, care about the money.
That's right.
He doesn't care about the money.
Yeah, Terry Cashman has an album called.
It's not about the money.
It's not
You
about
guys, it's
the money.
not about the money.
Yeah.
To him, it's about baseball.
And it's about the shine that we're putting on with a low-profile podcast.
Indeed. I want to hear a little bit more of this guy. This is one of the greatest songs ever written about this great sport of baseball. I've loved this song since I was a little kid because when I was watching Saturday morning cartoons on Channel 64 in Victorville, California, they would always play a commercial for a show called Talkin Baseball. And the soundtrack of this commercial was a song called Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. And if you don't know it, well, it sounds a lot like this.
That was my childhood right there.
The Whiz Kids had won it, Bobby Thompson had done it, and Yogi read the comics all the while. Rock and roll was being born, marijuana we would scorn. So down on the corner, the national pastime went on trial. We're talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Well, Casey was winning, Hank Aaron was beginning, one Robbie going out, one coming in.
It's really hard for me not to do the Simpsons parody of that.
Oh, that's not a thing, is it?
It is. Because
He sings it.
he sings it and he rewrote it for that episode.
Yeah, we just listened to it the other day at the bakery.
Talking softball.
What?
Yeah.
You guys are crazy.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Well,
With lyrics that match the plot to the
Yeah.
show. I don't believe he wrote the lyrics, though.
I
think he just performed it.
I think so too. I think
You
the
don't
writer.
think he did?
I think Conan definitely wrote that song and then gave it to Terry, and then Terry was.
Conan O'Brien?
Yeah, because I think Conan was the big writer at that point.
He
in
was
time.
He's
there.
another newbie in the podcast business.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Everyone's getting on this.
Oh, shh. Something's. Do you guys hear something?
I do.
Well, Mr. Burns had done it. The power plant had won it, with Roger Clemens clucking all the while. Mike Scioscia's tragic illness made us smile, while Wade Boggs lay unconscious on the barroom tile. We're talking softball, from Maine to San Diego, talking softball. Mattingly and Canseco, Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw, Steve Sachs and his running with the law. We're talking Homer, Ozzy and the Straw.
Nice.
Oh, right.
We're talking softball.
As you can see, we got a real kick-ass panel today. So Hannah and I know just about nothing about baseball except for the last couple months. We've been in situations where we had enough time to listen to a lot of songs about baseball.
And we fell in love with baseball music.
With baseball music, yes.
But it's all gibberish
the
to me.
real
Like, I don't know anything about what they're
Songs about
talking
baseball.
about.
Yeah.
Well, we're in luck because we have two baseball fans, Jeremy and Ian. But why ask them when we could just call up Terry Cashman?
That's
yeah.
a move. If
That's
you
a
could,
really
but, I mean,
big
how are you ever
move.
going to do that?
He called me up the other day when I was at the zoo and said he'd be keen to talk to us for a little bit. So we're running a little bit late here. I don't know if he's still awake because he's on the East Coast.
Where is he in the East Coast?
I cannot disclose
Oh,
that
okay.
information.
Hello.
Hello, is this Terry?
Yes.
The Terry Cashman.
One and only.
All right.
Oh
Well,
my
this
God.
is Mark Lee. I'm joined here with my panel, Jeremy, Hannah, and Ian.
Well, sir.
It's a
Hi.
pleasure.
Hello,
It's a
everybody.
real privilege.
Hannah and I are fans of baseball music, and Jeremy and Ian are fans of both baseball music and baseball. And me and Hannah are just learning about it, but you're sort of the reason why this episode came up, because we passed many an hour listening to you singing about the sport, and you're just so poetic and passionate about it, and it just gives us goosebumps.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I know the story, but for our listeners, what brought about that song, Willie, Mickey, and the Duke?
Well, it actually came from a photograph which was taken at Shea Stadium at an old-timers game where they had Willie, Mickey, and the Duke and Joe DiMaggio walking in from center field, and somebody took this incredible picture from behind, and you see them walking in. They're all in center field walking in towards the infield, and all you see are their numbers: 2, 24, 4, 7, and Joe is 5. And I bought the rights to that picture because I loved it so much. It represented so much to me in terms of New York baseball. And I gave it out as a Christmas present in 1980. To all my friends I knew, that I knew would appreciate what it meant. And at that time I owned a record company with a couple of partners, and somebody came in and they had a baseball song, and I said to my partner Tommy West, hey, maybe it's time for a baseball song. It's pretty good. But in those days, singles, you needed a B-side, so I said, well, let me write something. And I was sitting at home, and I looked at the picture, and I said, Joe and Willie and Mickey and Joe, And I said, no, you know, Joe doesn't belong with these guys. He retired in '51, and he was kind of like the godfather of New York City center fielders. And all of a sudden, it came into my head that you know, it was Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, because they played at the same time. You know, we had three baseball teams in New York, and all, you know,
The Golden Days.
pretty good. The Yankees were great, the Dodgers were great, and the Giants were pretty good. They won a pennant in '51 and won the World Series in '54. So, and I went to bed that night, and I started, you know, as I was falling asleep, I was thinking about the days when I was a teenager, and all that would happen was, you know, on the block where I lived, everybody would be out in the evening waiting for the early papers, you know, the Daily News and the Mirror and so forth, to come up, and there would be arguments about everything, and mostly about baseball. You know, who is better, Campy or Yogi or Pee Wee or Phil Rizzuto, Scooter, but especially the arguments were mainly about Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. And I went to sleep, and next day I woke up and I wrote the song in 20 minutes.
Amazing.
That's great. Yeah, it still feels fresh.
So that actually kind of talks to a question I had about it, because it's so like comprehensive to the era, and you said you wrote it in 1980, obviously well after the fact. But you wrote it in 20 minutes. You didn't have to go back and look at old box scores or old programs to kind of jog the memory, or was that?
No, not at all. I knew in the '50s, and you know, there were only 16 teams. I knew every player on every team.
Whoa.
It was not you know, it's not like today where you have 30 teams.
Yeah.
And you know, and mainly there were some trades, but you know, mainly guys stayed with the same team.
And you were a New York fan? Was there one team in particular, or you just kind of like?
Yeah, the Giants were my team.
Giants. Did you follow them out to San Francisco?
Yeah, for a while, and when Willie came back to New York with the Mets, I became a Mets fan.
I like to hear that. I'm a Mets fan myself. I'm from northern New Jersey. Actually, it takes me to a different question. And you did a bunch of team-centric ones, maybe in '96, a couple, like almost 20 years after the original.
No, well, I did. What happened was, you know, 1981, when I wrote the song and it was released, and it became, you know, this phenom, you know, and was played all over the place. The strike in baseball happened that year, and as a lot of people have said to me, I was, you know, the only good thing that happened to baseball during that strike was my song. And when the strike broke, the song was so popular that I was actually I was invited to Seattle.
Oh, no way.
Oh wow.
And I sang the song at the opening of the Mariners season.
I'm so bummed I missed that.
And they asked me, you know, can I include some of the Mariners players? And you know, so at the end of the song, you know, I included some of the players. And as I was leaving the ballpark that night, I think it was Jeff Burroughs on that team in '81. You guys remember?
I think I was a '90s kid. Yeah.
Anyway, one of the wives of one of the players said, you know, how come you didn't put my husband in the song? And you know, I said, well, you know, he'll be in the next one. I mean, you know, I didn't know what I meant at all, but I had to get, you know, it was an uncomfortable situation.
So you had to write
You got
more.
out of it good.
So anyway, I then, you know, went to L.A. and I sang the song there, and then I went to Atlanta. And Atlanta, there was a guy named Larry Cancro who was in charge of PR there, and he said to me, "Do you think you can write a song about the Braves?" to the same tune as Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. And I said, well, let me see. I hadn't thought about that. So I went home and, I looked up the history of the Braves, in Boston and Milwaukee and Atlanta. And I wrote a Talkin' baseball song about the Braves. And they loved it. And they paid me a nice amount of money to do it. And it became very popular. And all the other teams then heard about it. So there were, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 teams that paid me to write a song. The Cubs and Giants and Minnesota Twins, and they paid me to write a Talkin' baseball song about their team.
It's a living.
So so after I had done about 10 of them, I said, why don't I do them all? And I did them all.
Oh,
May as
that's
well.
great.
That's wonderful.
So I think the natural next question, I feel like that sort of brings us to talking softball. Can you give us sort of the play-by-play on that one?
It was just a matter of them contacting me, and someone had written lyrics to Talkin' baseball called Talkin' softball, and the whole thing.
Sure.
And I went to L.A. and I recorded it, and they used it, and it became very popular with the fans of that show.
Terry, I also really I love the other song like Cooperstown. Hannah,
One of my
right?
personal favorites. It's like velvet in my ears.
Yeah, it's just so
America.
It's very America. It's very heartwarming and just makes me feel like it makes me feel like I'm in on it. Honestly, just hearing it, it takes me right there.
Cooperstown.
Makes you want to go to Cooperstown.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't know about your work with the Weston Cashman duo and writing all the songs for Jim Croce. Is that sort of a separate audience, do you feel like, or?
Probably. I mean, it's pop music as opposed to baseball songs.
Right.
I think you think in order to be into all the songs I wrote about baseball, you have to love baseball to a certain degree and know something about it and be interested in it. Whereas Jim's records were for a national audience, and you didn't have to be a baseball fan to like Bad Leroy Brown.
Yeah.
It's true that you're the only recording artist that's in Cooperstown, like in the Hall of Fame.
No, John Fogerty also.
John Fogerty. Okay.
Oh, center field.
We couldn't. I was trying to find info. Like,
Sure.
yeah.
He's ready to play today.
Oh yeah.
Are you still writing, Terry?
Yeah, I'm working on a musical, which is somewhat about baseball. It says a baseball theme, but it's about it's about people and without going into the whole thing, the story about a guy who was a great player and who got hurt, and then later on went into business and in Florida. It was a baseball restaurant and bar, and various things happened with him, between him and his daughter, and what happens with the value of his restaurant, and so I've been working on that.
Is that going to be a period specific piece? Because you have such a good feel, obviously, for the baseball of specific periods, the way your songs just kind of capture whole teams at certain times.
No, these they're not. As I say, then the songs are maybe a couple of them are about about baseball. Opening Day is in it, and
More about life of
The song
someone who happens to
called
be music.
Brooklyn Almost Died, and but the rest of the songs are just regular show tunes.
That sounds really fun. I feel like that's right up your alley. Sure.
Yeah, it's good. We have been working very hard on it, and we hope to get a couple of producers involved in it and get it going.
Who are you collaborating with for that, if you don't mind me asking?
In terms of what?
Oh, on the musical.
I know, but you're collaborating with.
Oh, who are you? Are you writing it solo, or are you working?
No,
with
I've
others?
written all the songs. Yeah, I've written all the music and
Oh,
lyrics.
good. Okay, and
And
now you're just.
and then there are people who write the book, and you have directors and musical directors, and a lot of people. It's a very collaborative effort.
Have you done something along these lines before?
No.
Well, I'm excited to see how this develops.
Yeah, stoked for it.
Yeah, when
Me
should we
too.
expect it?
Is this going to be a Broadway thing?
Hopefully, that's what you aim for, but you have to, unless you have, a big star involved.
So the guy from
that
Hamilton
can-
hasn't contacted
that
you
can
about
s-
it?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, he's the guy from Hamilton hasn't contacted you yet.
Aaron
Right? Yeah, he's actually from my old neighborhood, but now he's got his own thing going. So,
Sure.
but if you had a star like that involved, then the theater owners know you're going to sell tickets. But if you don't have a big star involved, then you have to go through a process of regional theater and get reviews and work your way up, and hopefully you get to Broadway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to bring it back to a couple of the team-centric Talkin baseball songs because I think they're so well done and so interesting. Were there any teams specifically that you had trouble sort of filling out? Obviously you do the Yankees one, there's, a million stars to choose from, you almost got to leave people out. You do the Mets one, it's fantastic and has all the 69 team and the 86 team and the current team. But was it like you're sitting down to do the Colorado Rockies and you're like, I don't know what to say here? Or was it just easy? Could you just find something?
No, I mean, there are always players involved, but the newer teams, had less history, so they were more difficult. The Diamondbacks and the Marlins and the Rays and teams, the newer teams were more difficult to do because they didn't, like you mentioned, the Yankees. I mean, it was like, what do I leave out?
As a
And
Mets
the Cardinals, and all the teams from that have been around for years and years, the Tigers and the Cardinals and the Cubs, they were easy.
As a Mets fan, was it a little upsetting to do the Marlins team that took the record for the fastest from inception to a World Series? Because I know I was upset about that. As a Mets fan,
No, didn't bother me. Yeah.
Yeah. You're working.
Yeah.
We get it. Oh. Well, Terry, thank you so much for filling us in on all this. And does anybody have any more questions?
Oh, how do you think the Mets look this year?
I think that they're pretty good. They can hit, unlike last year when they had an anemic hitting team. They have they have guys. They got Cano and they got a catcher who can hit. And,
You took Diaz from us too.
and this kid,
Yeah.
this kid Jeff McNeil is going to be a very good hitter. And they have some young players, Conforto and some other guys that are able to put some runs on the board. And with their pitching staff, I expect DeGrom to win, at least 15 games this year. And Wheeler and Syndergaard are very good, and Matz is pitching a pretty good game tonight. So they should be in the hunt.
I love the optimism. It's great to hear it from an authority such as yourself. This is
You're a true Mets fan. When I think of the Mets now, I'm going to think of you and not Jerry Seinfeld or Chris Rock.
I also want to say one last thing about the Mets. I love in your Mets song that you, when you talk about Mookie, you don't talk about Buckner error. You don't talk about him beating it out. You say Mookie dodged the Boston pitch. You know, and nobody really talks about the wild pitch right before the ball going through Buckner's leg. So I appreciate that.
That tied the game. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to get its due, and I appreciate that.
One last thing. Are you from Brooklyn? Like, what borough are you from exactly?
Manhattan.
Manhattan, okay. Because my Uncle Al, he was raised in Brooklyn. When the Dodgers left, he went to the Mets, as you would. And then when the Dodgers were in the World Series the past 2 years, my dad was talking to him about it, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. I hate the Dodgers."
Terry, before we go, so we're gonna spend the remainder of the episode focusing on additional music that relates to baseball, and I was wondering if you have any favorites that we might want to pull up during our conversation.
My favorite song is Van Lingle Mungo.
Oh, by David Frischberg.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a mutual friend in Frischberg now, and through a previous episode, but yeah, he was unable to participate this time. He's broke a bone and he's in the hospital, so you know everybody pray for him. But
Yeah.
that's a great song. 100% names of baseball players for the lyrics, right?
Yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to hear that as we transition in the next phase. But yeah, that's a beautiful one. Well, Terry, we're going to be looking out for a musical. Do you have a working title for it?
It's called Once Upon a Pastime.
That's great.
Beautiful. We're looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes out for
Well, I
that.
hope you get the chance.
Yeah. Did you have anything to... Hannah?
Yeah, one question. I don't know anything about baseball. And so my biggest question is why baseball? And that's really for everyone here. Why baseball? Like, what's the hype about baseball? Why does it feel so good?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Why is baseball still popular?
No, for you personally.
Like, why do you love baseball?
Oh, it just goes back to my youth and my, my family and my father loved baseball and my mother loved baseball, and I have a big family of 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and they all love baseball. So I grew
there's
up,
a lot of community around it.
and growing up in New York in the 50s, as I said before, we had 3 very good teams, and it was. You saw all the players from both leagues, and I wound up playing and being signed by the Detroit Tigers when I was 18 years old, and I've seen every aspect of baseball, and it was I was able to couple my talent as a songwriter and my knowledge of baseball into doing all these songs. So I've loved it all my life, and I'm not going to stop now.
So, did you ever know Hank Greenberg? If you were a Tiger?
No, I knew his son. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Hank Greenberg was, I think, he was a little bit before my time.
Gotcha. I just say that because I'm Jewish, and they always say Jews aren't good at sports, but Hank Greenberg was the hitting king, so he proved that stereotype wrong. Him and Sandy.
Koufax,
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was a great player and, a wonderful American.
Damn right.
And was very successful. After he retired, he became a general manager and was very successful. And his son is also involved in baseball.
Yeah.
So if you were in the Tigers organization back then, and I think Dave DeBusschere also was, around a similar time. Is there something about that organization that sort of appeals to people with multi-talents?
Dave DeBusschere played for the White Sox.
Oh, White Sox. Never mind. I apologize.
He played for the
He's a Mets
Detroit. He played for the Detroit basketball team. When then he got traded to the Knicks.
Oh, right on. Never mind that.
He was actually a player coach for the Pistons.
Pistons team. All right.
All right. Well, Terry, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Terry,
it's
you're the
been
man,
awesome.
dude.
Thank you.
Big
Hey,
fan.
you're
It's a dream
welcome,
come
and
true.
it was a lot of fun.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Well,
All right, good luck with everything.
Appreciate
all right.
it.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Terry.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay,
Good night.
bye.
Wow.
I can check
man.
that off my list.
Once upon a pastime.
Yeah.
Right.
Ah, I
We gotta go
can't
see
wait.
that.
I know.
I think.
I hope that hits the road soon. My palms are sweaty right now.
Oh my God.
Legend.
Legend.
Absolute legend.
He is so wise.
Yeah. Those old New Yorkers, they just got nothing but just wisdom.
I just
Oh.
can't fucking believe this, man. That was great.
Yeah.
Terry Cashman
Terry
himself.
effing Cashman.
Yeah.
Wait, so what is his real name?
Oh, do we have to?
I don't think we can disclose that.
Yeah, that's top secret.
That's
unless you do.
Terry's
that's going to the
currency
grave.
gentleman.
Yeah, that's going to the grave.
But it will blow your mind.
See, yeah, that's
It's his real name is Ballbat Singerton.
No, it's
Ball
not.
Bat Singerton. What's up? You're gonna say it was Baby Ruth?
Little baby Ruth.
Oh goodness.
Damn. He knows
man.
everything
Yeah.
about baseball.
Yeah, and
He's the baseball
So how do you two
baseball
feel?
Alec Trebek.
those songs are super comprehensive too.
So
like,
you two have
ton
been
of names,
fans
ton of individual
since you were
events.
children.
Well,
of
I
Terry,
heard
right?
him. So I heard him. The first time I heard the baseball song was the Ken Burns documentary about baseball.
What's the name of that?
Just baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called baseball. Nice.
Ken Burns is baseball.
What's it about though?
Just the history of baseball.
Oh, okay.
And
It's called
it
baseball.
covers every aspect of the sport.
Including baseball music, because that's what we're here to talk about.
Oh yeah, they talked about baseball music. They talked about the seventh inning stretcher,
Who's the guy you were asking Terry about on like?
the Tigers.
Yeah.
Hank Greenberg. He was the guy who was super close to breaking Babe Ruth's single season home run record,
Okay.
and he got a lot of flack because he was Jewish, and
Yeah,
people
how dare he?
And they were intentionally
Honestly,
walking him.
they were
near the end.
intentionally walking him.
Oh,
He
that's
got
so
stuff
messed
thrown
up.
at him. He got called the K word. Yeah, and then I think 20 years down the line, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris were going for that record, and Maris ended up breaking it the last game of the 61 season. And yeah. And Major League Baseball did this bunk thing where because they were it was the beginning of the 162 season because it had always been 150 something.
156.
156. So they made it 162, and the league was like, "Oh, this isn't fair to Babe Ruth, so we're just going to put an asterisk to anyone who breaks any record from now on." And so for the longest time, there was this asterisk next to 61, and then they finally changed that in like 80 or 90 something. But Roger Maris died not knowing that the record actually belonged to him,
Damn.
which is really heartbreaking.
That is very heartbreaking.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I just gave you a whole spiel about the 61 home run thing. Baseball nerd, what can I say?
I'm learning so much about baseball right now.
There's a great HBO movie called 61
yeah.
with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Directed
I
by
love
Billy Crystal.
I hate him so much.
Oh, it's
No,
good. Barry
fine.
Pepper is Roger Maris. Thomas
Yeah.
Jane is Mickey Mantle.
Who else is
Good
There's
one.
a bunch of good people in that. I always forget that one dude. All these like great character actors. Oh yeah.
Well, you guys, I want to play this song called Van Lingle Mungo. Which, do you guys know who that is?
That's the name of the person who sings it. Van Lingle Mungle.
No. David Frischberg, who Dave Frischberg.
Oh,
He
that's
was
the one
the
that
guy
he
Terry
just
mentioned.
recommended.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry
Yeah.
was talking. That's his.
We haven't
favorite
heard this
baseball
before,
song.
you and I?
You and I have heard it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the jazz pianist.
Oh, and it's just the names.
All the lyrics are names of baseball players.
Somehow he makes it work. You wouldn't think that you could, but he does it.
I'm pretty shocked that I never knew that he opened for the Mariners in '81, and I couldn't tell you. My life depended on anyone who played on the '81 team. I'd be dead because I don't know anyone that played. I don't know any of those players. Like, couldn't tell you.
Terry Cashman knows.
Terry Cashman
Oh, yeah.
knows.
Yeah, well, that was.
He's talking baseball.
He was talking baseball.
That's all he's talking.
Oh my gosh,
Damn.
that was so fun though. Okay, here's Van Lingo Mungo by Dave Frischberg, one of many baseball-themed songs he's written.
Henry Majeski, Johnny G, Eddie Juice, Johnny Pesky, Thornton Lee, Roy Campanella, Van Lingle Mungo, Whitey Korowski, Max Lanier, Eddie Wickerson, John Vandermeer, Danny Gardella, Van Lingle Mungo, Augie Bergamo, Sigmund Jakuki, Big Johnny Mize, and Barney McCoy.
Any names standing out to you yet? Panel?
Yeah, with the Roy Campanella on there.
Campanella for sure.
Johnny Mize.
I mean, I know majority of these names. George McQuinn for sure.
So this is just every single baseball player
Of all time.
of
the
all
good
time.
players of all time.
So the ones that stand out.
Van Lingle Mungo.
Van Lingo.
How could you not have a song written
Great
after
name.
you with a name like that?
How's that spelled?
VANLINGLE MUNGO.
Mungo was his name up.
Buffalo Bumbo.
Yeah, Frischberg, we hope you're doing all right.
I think there'll be a low profile
Prayers
about you
up.
at some point.
By the way, it was
One of
100,
these days.
154 games when Ruth hit that home run, not 156. I apologize to anyone I offended by saying it was a 156 game season.
Oh yeah.
Sorry
Yep.
to the listeners.
Well,
to my
thanks for
co-podcasters.
sparing us the troll publicity.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some Pepe fans out there. I know there are. Ugh. But thank you. I didn't know that either. I was trying to figure out if it was 54 or 56.
I decided to make it up and then check. And,
Nice.
it turns out I was wrong.
Well, everyone's doing that these days. It's chill. I respect that. You are a Mets fan, so. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting the Yankee logo tatted on my face.
So,
Face, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Right
You
above
really
my-
are?
No, of course
Okay.
not.
God, you never know these days.
Yeah. I'm not a SoundCloud rapper yet.
So have
We're
y'all
getting there.
played baseball before?
I grew up playing baseball.
Yeah, you still are?
I still play. Well, still play with my friends, pickup games, but that's about it.
Right on.
You're a basketball guy. I know that.
Yeah, I enjoy basketball. I was a Little League. I played Little League, and at a few seasons, I was probably the worst player in the league
Nice.
there. So it was fun. It's always a good time, though. Get out,
That's fun.
grass,
That
a
was-
limited amount of exercise.
that was my favorite part. I did Little League for just one season, I guess. And I was on the Huskies, I believe we were called.
That's
Okay.
cool.
And yeah, I was put in the outfield, and I spent pretty much every game picking dandelions,
Hey, me
Yeah.
too.
sitting on my ass.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I was a
Nice.
right fielder for Little League. I made the All-Star Little League team 3 years in a row. That was my biggest accomplishment in my life. And I lost all my summers because of it. But I would just wait for the ball to come to me, and most of the time I was picking dandelions and singing rap songs in my head. Mostly the
Nice.
Gorillas.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
because the Gorillas were out at that time. and
The
Della
Gorillas
Funk-
were out.
The Gorillas were out at that time.
Yeah, who let the
It was.
Gorillas
It
out?
wasn't the Dogs.
Who?
Dogs were out.
The Dogs were in.
Dogs were definitely still in at that point.
I've never played baseball, but
It's
I've
the-
thrown a ball with my friend, and the one time I did it, it hit me in the eye, and I had a big black eye for like
Like
No pain, no
just,
gain.
few weeks.
Just throw
No
the ball
pain.
around.
It just hit
Like-
me right in the face immediately, and that's the only experience I have with an actual baseball.
How many women are in Major League Baseball these days?
0. There's never been a woman player, but I think that will change at some point. Because there's this one girl who I don't know if she was in Little League or she was on some women's team, but she's like this incredible pitcher. And there's been talk about getting her into the major leagues. And I don't know when.
So she would be the first woman.
She'd be
to
the
ever
first
be.
woman ever in the MLB.
Wow.
And I think that should actually like happen.
Have you guys ever heard of Ted Williams?
Yeah, he's in a ice capsule now, right?
I'm
What?
not sure. He's the last guy to hit 400.
400,
though.
yeah. He's the last guy to hit 400. But I definitely know him as this dude who was a legend. He's in Cooperstown, and his family decided to cut his head off and freeze it so if he can get brought back to life at some point.
Wait, is this
That's the
is this
word,
a
yeah,
joke?
That's the word.
I don't know if it's
So
true,
what is
but it is the rumor.
Cooperstown?
It's the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And
So that's where
Terry,
baseball lives, actually.
Yeah.
That's why.
So it literally
Terry
lives
Cashman
It was-
there.
I think it was made in
It was
Cooperstown.
invented there by Abner Doubleday in Cooperstown, New York.
How did they
Doubleday.
invent baseball?
Well, I think they stole
They stole
from
from the
It was a
stole
double
from-
dare.
yeah.
Somebody double dared them to open the Baseball Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
Nelson Doubledare.
Nelson Doubleday.
Yeah, he pulled it out of a giant snotty nose. He just pulled the rules down, covered in slime, and then they
It was before Punxsutawney Phil, obviously.
Okay.
pre-Punxsutawney.
Yeah, pre-Punxsutawney.
Yeah, PPP.
Yeah.
Well, there's a great song about Ted Williams, and it's called Ted fucking Williams.
Ted fucking
I was
Williams.
about to say, the story about Ted Williams is when he would do batting practice, he would just stand up there and, all the teams would be watching because he's Ted Williams.
Uh-huh.
And he just hit the ball, he just crank it. He would just scream at nobody, "I'm Ted motherfucking Williams." Boom, crank.
So that's
"I'm the
probably
best
where the title of
motherfucking
the
hitter
song
all
comes
time. Boom, "I'm Ted fucking Williams, you can't pitch to me." And he's screaming at nobody, right? This is just batting practice. And teams would line up and watch him do it.
Baseball was
Yeah.
so much better before steroids because people were just doing so much stimulants. It was before, in speed. It was before steroids. They were just doing speed and a shit ton of stimulants.
The greenies.
The greens.
So everyone's on steroids now.
Well, back in the 90s, they definitely were. Nowadays, it's just more like they're on the Bang Energy or something.
The Bang Energy. You're on that
That's
Bang
you,
Energy.
yeah.
I'm on that Bang right now.
Oh boy.
Banging all day.
Full disclosure. There may be some explicit content previously, or
So-
coming up.
Have your kids leave the room right now.
Yeah, if you haven't already, because
Sorry.
this song is by the Baseball Project.
Everyone's so kind and humble. Don't you know that I can see right through it? Keeping all the comments down, you know it ain't a boast if you can do it. And everybody says, say hey, everybody says, did you see that kid play? I gotta give a kid a hand, but there's nothing that he can do better than I can. Ted fucking Williams. Ted fucking Williams. People say it's hard to like a man who doesn't fail and show his feeling. But failure's not a sign of grace. It only means you don't know
So this-
what you're doing.
This band is considered they're a super group. It's Scott McGoy of the band The Minus Five, and then he's got everybody but Michael Stipe from REM,
Oh, shit.
and then a couple people from the Dream Syndicate, and they only play songs about baseball, and they got 3 albums out.
My dad's got every one too.
Yeah, your dad's a big baseball head.
He's a fucking massive baseball head.
He took you to the Mariners game the other day.
It's a father-son tradition as long as I can remember. I haven't missed. Oh, it was one home opener we missed, but it was a friend of ours that got hit by a train, later died. It was really unfortunate, but now it's got a bigger meaning. So every year, like, I will never miss it from here on out. So nothing will stop me from coming up here for a home opener. So, yeah.
It was beautiful.
And that's why you're able to be in the studio today, right? Because you're in town on a baseball trip to see the opening day.
Yeah, and I got to see a team that's really known for being terrible spank the world champions of last year with the best record in baseball. So it was a pretty freaking great trip being back. And then they
watch
just
your language there, boy.
I didn't know if we could cuss on this. I'm making it very Mormon right now.
Yeah, no,
So.
there's absolutely no cursing ever on this show.
Yeah.
It's not allowed.
Unless you're Andrew Dorsett. Right.
Ted effing Williams.
Ted effing Williams.
Yeah. This is a song called Baseball, Baseball by Jane Morgan.
I met a lad, handsome and witty, who whispered to me, "You are so pretty." Soon he and I were cabareting. We had a good time, goes without saying. He came to my house, all the lights were low, and then he held me close, set my heart aglow. He told me that my lips were as sweet as wine. With that he put his two lips so close to mine and talked of baseball, baseball, the Dodgers and baseball, baseball, Stan Musial and baseball, baseball, all through the night, baseball, baseball. I was so mad, I got to thinking, surely this lad will start me drinking. For there was me, eager and healthy, in love with a he, handsome and wealthy. I tried to get him in my sweet embrace.
This is kind
All
of
he
a
had on his
calypso
mind was the pen
chord
and
progression.
trace. And though I saw him practically every night, we never went to movies or saw a fight. We just saw baseball, baseball, DiMaggio and baseball, baseball, Chicago Cubs, baseball, baseball, DeRocher and baseball, baseball. My heart knew such humiliation that I sat and planned retaliation. Using the wiles known to all women, I'd marry that man if it was human. The wedding bells rang, we were one in June. Triumphantly we went on a honeymoon. He held me very tight under stars so bright and whispered, "Darling, who do you love tonight?" I told him, baseball, baseball, the Tigers and baseball, baseball, Ted Williams and baseball, baseball. I love the game, baseball, baseball. Spread legs, Braves, White Sox, Indians, Phillies, Senators, Red Sox, Orioles, Athletics, Pirates, baseball, baseball, baseball.
Much like the world of baseball itself, the baseball music world is underrepresented by women. But I think there are more baseball singers that are female than there are baseball players.
That is true.
At least, with
Right now.
At the professional level.
At the professional level. Thank you. I was going to say like with a record deal, but I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Very few female professional baseball players with a record deal.
So, y'all were talking about an older one that was about Mickey Mantle, or
There's Joe DiMaggio, and then there was Mickey Mantle.
that's the one that's sung by a woman, right?
Both of them are sung by women.
Both of them are.
Yeah.
Well, this one's with Mickey Mantle. For our listeners who are nerds but in a different way
Yeah.
than yourself, explain about Mickey Mantle. Just like give me like the real quick rundown.
So you had Ruth in the 20s, you had Lou Gehrig in the 30s, you had Joe DiMaggio in the 40s, and then you had Mickey Mantle as the next like great in the 50s, early 60s. And yeah, he was just the Yankee captain of that time.
Right.
And he was, every generation of the Yankees, there's always this Yankee great.
And he was the one.
He was one of that time.
And he cut a single with Teresa Brewer in 1956 called I Love Mickey. I wonder why he did it.
He was also a ladies' man, too.
Oh, we need a
Mickey who?
You know who, the fellow with the celebrated swing. Oh, I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
You know who, the one who drives me batty every spring. If I don't make a hit with him, my heart'll break in two. I wish that I could catch him and pitch a little woo. I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
Mickey you.
Mickey me.
And that's who.
Was this part of a movie or something?
I love Mickey.
I know he was in a movie
You know
with
who
Roger
his
Maris
muscles
in the
are
early
a mighty
60s.
sight to see.
But I forget. I don't think he might have been.
Mickey who?
You know
I
who's
wonder
the
if he's
one I
really the
wanna see
first
right home with
baseball
me.
player to
Oh,
record
I'd
a song
sacrifice
about
most
baseball. I
anything
bet
to
we'll have a
win
lot
his
of
many
Well, it would look
charms.
into that.
I'd like to
somebody
be a
might
eyeball
somebody
that
might get to
could
us about this,
play
but
the drums.
this is the
Oh,
earliest I
love
know about.
Mickey who?
I mean, Joe DiMaggio is not in this song.
Babe Ruth did play himself in the film Pride of the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Me?
That's a lot of pride.
Not Yogi Berra.
Okay, so I'm gonna come off as a total ignoramus, but he mentioned Yogi Berra there, and I only know about Yogi Berra for one reason, and everyone knows what that is. And was Yogi Berra, the baseball player, prone to stealing picnic baskets?
Huh.
Yeah, with his sidekick,
This
Boo
Boo, yeah. A.K.A. Babe Ruth.
Jellystone Park
Yeah.
mainstay, sure.
George Steinbrenner was Ranger Ned, I believe, in that series.
But I do think Yogi Berra is named after Yogi Berra, the New York Yankee
Yeah.
great,
Yeah, the greatest catcher of all time.
who's also known for having a lot of malaprops. I don't know if that's the word. He says a lot of funny stuff. It ain't over till it's over. Is a Yogi
Yeah, that was
Berra
his quote. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
biggest quote.
Wow.
Yeah, or like 50% of the game, 80% of the game is half mental, I believe is a Yogi Berra quote.
That was a quote, exactly.
Well, it's-
From the
he's-
movie 61.
He's got a lot of them. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's also a great thing. If you haven't checked out the Billy Crystal movie, 61, you should look into that because it's about Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris's friendship through that season. It's pretty heavy, too.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Tom Jane.
Tom
Barry
Jane.
Pepper. I'm going to keep talking about him.
Barry Pepper, who was both these guys, like Thomas Jane was the Punisher in the first Punisher film, and then Barry Pepper, Saving Private Ryan.
Sniper and Saving Private
Yeah.
Ryan. Yeah, he does like 80% of the work in that movie.
Oh yeah. He's a
What
real
about-
cowboy.
Half of it's mental.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of songs about Joe DiMaggio, like Terry mentioned him in Cooperstown. Woody Guthrie wrote a song about him that we'll probably hear later, and then Les Brown has a song called "Joltin' Joe DiMaggio," featuring the vocalist Betty Bonney, and that's from 1941. So I'm that guy who's gonna call in and say, "Hey, you got to go back in time a little bit to find the first." Well, I guess it's not a singing baseball player, but
It's about him. It's,
it's about him. But more importantly, this is about who is this Betty Bonney singing this song to us, and what's she excited about?
Baseball.
No. I do hear the similarity though.
Hello, Joe. What do you know?
We need a hit, so here I go.
Ball one. Hey! Ball two. Hey! Strike one. Ooh. Strike two.
Wait, can I pause this? I have always been unclear. What is the difference between strike and ball? Because I know it's 3 strikes you're out, and when I was in Little League,
You're out of here.
I was super confused why like people would swing the bat more than 3 times, and they would say ball every once in a while. And
So ball is outside of the pitch, the strike zone. The strike zone's like a square, so it can't be. If it's higher above your shoulders, it's a ball. If it's below the knees, it's a ball. If it's outside the plate, it's a ball, or inside the plate, it's a ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
A case of Wheaties.
Wheaties.
Early product placement.
Wow.
Bakery's got
Wheaties,
some
you owe me
touch
$40. Just showing off the orchestra at this point. I've never heard this song either. No, you just told me that.
He started baseball's famous streak that's got us all aglow. He's just a man and not a freak. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio. We want you on our side.
He tied the mark at
They want him on
44,
acid?
July
Oh,
the
our
1st,
side.
you
Oh.
know. Since then he's hit a good 12 more. Joltin'
That reminds
Joe
me of shit.
DiMaggio.
What's his face?
DiMaggio. We want you on our side.
From coast to coast, that's all you'll hear of
Doc
Joe,
Ellis.
the one-man
Ellis,
show.
yeah.
No hitter.
He's
No
glorified the horse-hide sphere. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio. We want you on our side.
He'll live in baseball's Hall of Fame. He got there blow by blow. Our kids will tell their kids his name. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio.
We dream of Joey with the light from back.
Oh,
Joe
that's nice.
DiMaggio.
We want you on our side. And now they speak in whispers low of how they stopped our
Okay,
Joe.
so
One night.
in the meantime, I have confirmed the Baseball Project does have a song called "The Day Doc Went Hunting Heads."
Yeah.
So
You gotta play that.
I'm gonna drop it in later.
I do want to talk. This song you said was recorded in 1941, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's right when America's getting into World War II, big worldwide conflict. So there's a little more to Joltin' Joe is on our side. Is like kind of a really patriotic thing. It's and baseball is a real symbol for America, Americano. It's great about America.
All those dudes like went to war. All those baseball greats. I think even Elvis, he signed up, right?
He did.
Yeah. That was the thing. Is like back in the day, you signed up and went to war. Part of your patriotic duty.
I thought it was a lottery.
Which is why we got the women's league. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
exactly.
League of their own.
They came from cities near and far.
Yeah.
Canadians, Irish ones, Swedes. They're one for all. They're all for one. They're all American. No doubt about that.
We also I posted a thread on Facebook that got really out of control because I posted in a country music group and was asking about favorite baseball themed songs, and I got probably 50 or so submissions. I guess the ones that aren't the Baseball Project, and none of the ones we're playing, or a few of the ones we're playing actually, but mostly songs that were baseball as metaphor. Not a ton of songs about the game itself. More like,
I'm
well,
stealing second.
You know, it's so intertwined with
Yeah.
just American culture and all like the terms and stuff that's really ripe for plucking for metaphors that people can understand.
it's almost like you could hear someone preach a sermon about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Sister Winona Carr, for instance.
Really like that.
Life is a ball game being played each day. Life is a ball game everybody can play. Yes, you know Jesus standing at the home plate. He's waiting for you there.
Yeah.
Life is a ball game, but you've got to play it fair. The first base is temptation. You know the second base is sin.
That's not second
Third
base.
base tribulation. If you pass,
Well, I'm
you
trying to round
can
second
make it
each game I
in.
play.
Old man Solomon is the umpire, and Satan pitching a game. He'll do his best, strike you out, but keep playing just the same.
King Solomon's the
The
umpire.
umpire. How's he calling those pitches from Satan is the real question. Satan painting the corners? Is he giving you the ball? Is he calling the strike? It's unclear.
It was a spitball.
Yeah, you got to play it fair.
Yeah. That is not permitted. There's one thing I know about baseball. A spitball, not permitted.
No go.
No good.
Unless
I
you
want
get
to
away with it.
I want to stray from the metaphors mostly and just have like the songs that are really like kind of more educational. But this is educational in another way, and it's a metaphorical song, and it's by Charlie Louvin, who love Charlie Louvin, one half of the Louvin brothers, and this song is called "Bottom of the Fifth."
I should go home, but I'm not sure I have one. The bottle holds the first place in my life. I live out of control in smoky places, and I'm ashamed of how it hurts my wife, 'cause it's bottom of the fifth and I'm still wanting more. She ought to give me up and even up the score, 'cause every time I say I'll quit, she knows that it's a myth. When it's 5-2 and bottom of the fifth. It's
It can also mean
hard
the
to
bottom of the
change
fifth of
the
whiskey too.
Well, that's
walking
I
up
think
from
that's
the bar.
exactly what it means. It's five to
2 in
two,
the morning. Yeah.
bottom of the fifth.
It's almost incidentally a baseball metaphor.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
it doesn't connect to baseball in any other way except
Not
like
in
this
any
one
other
line
Nothing
could
more
also
American-
describe a baseball game.
There's nothing more American than the Louvin brothers in baseball. You put a Chevy commercial on this podcast, it's done, dude.
You know how it worked in Nashville though is that like back in those days, you just go to a bar and you hear somebody say something like somebody else is watching a baseball game. They're like, it's 5-2, bottom of the fifth, and then someone's light bulb goes off above their head, overhearing it, and they're like, that means, and then they hand the
There you
song
have
over
it.
to Charlie Louvin people, and voila,
Gold.
Beautiful.
instant gold. Do you guys know that song about Nolan Ryan?
Really?
I don't think I do.
I'd love to hear it. I love Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan was like the only baseball player I really knew about besides Bo Jackson. Like Bo Jackson was just like pop culture because he was
because he knew everything.
Bo knows.
Yeah.
Bo knows.
I had a like a trading card that was Bo Jackson standing next to Bo. What's his name? What's the kid from The Simpsons with the pointy hair?
Bart Simpson?
No, that's not it. It's the boy in the Simpsons family that
Bart.
rides a
Zelda?
skateboard
Zelda's the
and
Bort? You mean Bort?
Yeah, it's bored.
Yeah, it's Bort.
no, it was Bart. It was Bart.
Oh my god.
I don't think so, but let's just go with that.
Okay, well, so just
Gosh, I'm really making me infuriated right now.
so it was a picture of Bo Jackson standing next to Bart Simpson, and it just said Bo knows Bart.
Whoa.
That would make a great bootleg T-shirt if someone hasn't done that already.
This was like a thing I bought at a comics and baseball card shop.
You still have this with you?
No.
Damn, dude.
It's one of the best marketing inventions ever, though, is the Bo knows, because you can put literally anything after it. It's like, whatever you're doing. It's like, oh, are you selling patent medicine? It's like, oh yeah, Bo knows snake oil. You know, like, anything you need.
Bo knows
it.
best. Yeah. I did a report about him in 3rd grade. It was we were doing Black History Month, and I chose Bo Jackson as the guy for my project. I got an A for it. It was killer.
Nice.
Well,
he was the original Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan, basketball great, but he also played baseball as a White Sox.
It's true. Both from the White Sox organization there.
mm-hmm.
And then went on to golf. And I guess
But he didn't play in the same team as his dad, like Ken Griffey. And
I
the,
think,
the Griffey brothers, as they're incorrectly known. But what about Nolan Ryan, right? I mean, didn't he strike out a bunch of batters?
All-time record for strikeouts by far, I
think
believe,
he's
as a pitcher. He had a combination of a ton of strikeouts and great longevity.
He was the strikeout king.
He's
Yeah.
also
I
most
just want to hear what
no-hitters.
I just want to hear what Jerry
no-hitters.
Jeff Walker had to
Perfect
say
games.
about him.
JJW.
Well, our story starts in Texas,
It's a good place to start a story.
where he's tempered by the heat. This skinny Alvin boy believes his fastball can't be beat, so he brings it and he brings it, and it passes every test. They're talking he's a wild man, might be the fastest in the West. Well, he's drafted by New York. He's gonna pitch up there in shade. With those
Can you
amazing
tell in like just a few seconds about how he punched that guy out?
Oh, he got him in a headlock, right?
Yeah, so he threw the ball at Robin Ventura, and I believe it hit him. And Robin Ventura took a couple steps to first base, then decided to challenge the mound, as sometimes happens in baseball. He ran at the mound at Nolan Ryan, who at the time was, I believe, 40 years old, and ran at him. And Nolan Ryan just smoothly catches him in a headlock as he's coming up and just starts pounding his head. Nolan Ryan's hat comes off and he's bald, and it's just this old bald dude beating on this, 25-year-old third baseman, and
It's one of the best video clips of all time of a baseball fight.
I think that's why Jerry Jeff wrote this song.
He's a badass.
Nolan Ryan, he's a hero to us all. Nolan Ryan, he stands straight and he stands tall. He don't mess around, boys.
He plays some mean old football.
Man, I'm starting to like baseball.
It's the best sport ever. There's something about that game. It's just like you can't explain why you love baseball. It's just like a thing. It's just unexplainable. This love that we have for the game.
Well, I noticed like everyone so far that I know who really enjoys baseball, they started when they were really young, and they like their parents played it, their friends play it. There's a lot of community around it, and they just grew up like looking up to these like big baseball dudes.
It's a cultural thing. I think you have to be raised with it. It's funny because people I know who just weren't raised playing baseball or raised with it in the house, they just don't understand it or just don't get it.
I definitely don't get it, and I'm beginning to get it being surrounded by all these baseball fans.
Yeah.
Baseball freaks.
I am an absolute
freaks.
baseball freak.
You totally are.
I'm proud of it. I take it with pride.
I really enjoy witnessing your guys' passion for the sport.
As do I.
Yeah.
Like this song right here.
I'm learning a
the
lot
passion.
about.
Yeah, that's what's great about the music. I really feel it.
Golden Glove. Crowd participation.
Hey kids, guess what? It's your lucky day because you get to tell me your favorite baseball team, okay? So 1, 2, 3.
Lancaster
How
Jets.
did you know? That's my favorite baseball team too. Yes, it is. Here we go. Here we go. DiMaggio. Perfect street. It's one, but it's still on. See it in. I will pitch it out. Get it right. The third base line. Swing, batter, batter, swing, batter, batter, swing, batter, batter.
This is the LA funk band Wolfpack. 1-for-1 DiMaggio. Timeless.
1990, it's the World Series in Cleveland. I went with my dad and Joe Table. Well, he blew it. So now I root for the New York Yankees with Bartoli Colon. He's throwing 101 in the 9th inning. Well, he's the best. Come on. One.
DiMaggio.
This is amazing.
I love it.
That's my second favorite baseball song.
Mine too.
Yeah.
It's a little bit irreverent, but
There's a lot of love there, though. They can get away with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a Drake song I listened to recently because I was going through a really bad breakup and I've been listening to a lot of Drake. And I highly recommend that to any dude with a broken heart.
Pete Drake?
Drake. Drizzy. You should do a low profile about him at some point.
Once he fades into obscurity, I'll be right on top of that.
You might be 70 at that point, but I hope you're still doing this at 70. But yeah, he has a song it's called Connect. And it's just about him swinging. The whole song is just him
like swinging
just
ball?
swinging, yeah. Like swinging for the ball. And
Does he ever hit it?
I think so. Damn. It's mostly, yeah.
You're not rooting for Drake there.
No, I'm rooting for Drake.
I'm not. Yeah, I haven't really listened to Drake.
Yeah.
Well,
that's I don't know. That was something that came to my mind because I thought it was funny. We were talking about baseball songs.
Have you guys ever heard of Move Over Babe, Here Comes Henry?
Ooh.
Hank Aaron?
Get out of the way, babe.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely is Hank Aaron.
We're starting to wrap it up, but I think we can afford to play some of this here. It's by Bill Slayback. Who is Bill Slayback? Well, maybe that's a question for another episode, or maybe that's you. Depending on who's listening.
Thanks for listening, Bill.
We love you, Bill.
This deep into the show episode.
Move over, babe. Here comes Henry.
Move over, babe. Here comes Henry, and he's swinging me. Move over, babe. Things hit another. He'll break that 714.
So,
what does that number mean?
714 was the amount of home runs, career home runs Babe Ruth hit, and it was the record.
715 is what Aaron got.
By a lot. Well, so yeah, he ended with 755, I think. But
it ended
yeah,
with
he
7.
broke it with 715.
Bonds got to 780 something. I don't know.
I don't remember the.
I just
Bonds
remember being
numbers.
so bummed about that.
Yeah.
And that's when the real asterisk should have taken place, is when these dudes were taking steroids.
Hey, well, I've got human Google here. Does the phrase tinker to Evers to chance
Oh yeah,
in
that's
anything.
Yeah, that's a. I think it's is it a shortstop to second base to first base? That's like an infield double play combination.
Okay.
I've never.
I don't know the team. But it's a double play connection.
Well, maybe the Carolyn Sills combo can tell us something about that. God, I hope so.
Some years before Wrigley's romance was Tinker to Evers to Chance. A trio of backups with lightning between gloves, a regular waltz in striped pants. The moment the hit would arise, you'd see lights go off in their eyes. When turning that double, they're nothing but trouble. That's Tinker to Evers to Chance. Three orphans of the West Side Ground, the best friends of those on the mound. Twin killers with each just a 6, 4 to 3, then ruthlessly gone full and bound.
So this is a song about a maneuver then in baseball?
It's definitely a maneuver.
Yeah.
It's the best play that you could possibly get on the defense of the sport.
A double play. It's getting 2 outs and one swing of the bat as the defensive team. It's really good. A twin killing, they call it.
Dang. Well, seems like something good to strive for if anybody out there's playing baseball and wondering what they ought to do.
Yeah,
in the
kill some
next game.
twins.
Kill some twins, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. Just like King Solomon did in that other song.
Yeah, score some points with the umpire. All right.
You're supposed to sit on your ass and nod at stupid things. Man, it's hard to do. But if you don't, they'll screw you. And if you do, they'll screw you too. And I'm standing in the middle of the
Ian, this is not.
This is it.
Okay.
Standing in the diamond all alone.
Ellis.
Is this Warren Zevon?
Yeah.
It sure is.
This is the Bill Lee song, right?
things I shouldn't like.
Is that harmonica censoring his words?
Sometimes I say things I shouldn't.
So Bill Lee, the song this song's about, he was this bad boy for the Red Sox that LA Rockers just loved. And Zevon wrote this for him.
So this is another crossover of rock and roll and baseball. Like rockers thought that this guy was punk, but on the baseball field.
Yeah, on the baseball field, yeah.
Okay.
Bill Lee
I'm
loved
intrigued.
Warren Zevon, so Warren was like, I'm going to write a song for him because he's a badass.
Oh, that's really sweet.
And yeah, he was screaming. I guess it was the time Werewolves in London had just been out. And
Well, you guys, I think we're going to have to end this, but we're going to have to end it by singing sort of the ubiquitous baseball song. And before we start singing it, Miles, you had some interesting trivia about this tune.
About taking you out to the ball game? Yeah.
oh man,
This guy, and I think if if I remember right, this is also care of the Ken Burns documentary that I saw in 6th grade, and I've tried to watch it again, and man, it's tough to get through.
You have to be.
I fall asleep right away.
Yeah.
But what's that, Mark? I'm sorry. What was that?
It's like American
A
Frasier.
stick in a sphere.
A stick in a... Oh, wait. A stick in a sphere? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's going to be my first baseball
That's what that's
song.
called? Yeah.
Okay.
What's it going to be about?
A stick in a sphere.
Stick in a sphere.
Oh.
And some
Baguette and a Swiss roll.
people in gear.
A baguette and a roll.
Of dirt in the middle.
So this song that we're about to sing, if I remember right from the Ken Burns documentary, he had never been to a baseball game, but had heard all about it, and decided to write this song about it. You know, it was like all the rage, but yeah, never made it to a baseball game.
It's so weird.
I know.
So he just really wanted to go.
He really wanted to go, and he knew enough about the snacks and, you know, the basic rules of it, but yeah, I'd never been to a baseball game before, and I don't think ever made it to one.
I also don't think he's never had a proper haircut either. You've never seen his hair?
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time, but yeah, that sounds about right. Turn of the century, 1900s.
Yeah. It's like someone put a baseball hat on his head and they just kind of chopped away.
There's no strings on that one. Mark is reaching for a banjo, and there's only the one. You can use the guitar there. And
So we guys are going full out for this ending. I love
So
this.
do we think this song was about trying to get someone to take him to a ball game
I
finally?
think so.
It's like, take me out to
Yeah,
the ball
it's
game.
more-
Take me out
Somebody
to the crowd,
please
guys.
take me to a ball game.
Yeah,
Buy me the
some
peanuts.
Peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
really don't care if I
Cracker
ever
Yeah.
go back.
It was a little intense.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
nobody wanted to take him.
Yeah.
A little too desperate.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, to play cool.
1, 2, 3.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever go back, 'cause it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Well, that was some baseball. I'm here now with returning for the outro, Ian.
What's up?
And Miles.
Hey, it's Engineer Miles here.
Andrew is over there on the piano.
Playing us out.
So, that was really fun. It was a fun season for the podcast. Was it a fun baseball season, Ian?
It was really disappointing, but hey, there's always next year, as they say.
Yeah, go get them next year.
Yeah. We'll get another.
Dodgers.
Yeah. Thanks, Kershaw.
We had a couple.
Great job.
All right, let's go Kershaw.
Yeah, thanks, Kersh.
We had a little disappointment. We also interviewed Scott McGoy from the Baseball Project, better well known for his bands Young Fresh Fellows and the -5. And we talked to him at length about his band, the Baseball Project, which you heard a little bit ago. But it's gone to the ether.
Yeah, it got lost.
That is a foul.
So, anyways, I guess, these things happen. Kirshner, who is it? Kershaw, yeah.
Yeah, we really pulled a Kershaw on this
Really
one.
Kershaw, we feel ya.
We're sitting on the couch like you sat on the bench that game. In utter disbelief.
And that's how I feel about this season of the podcast being over too. It's been a wild ride.
It sure has, yeah.
It's been really fun, and
you've been every best part about my travels on a plane this past year.
Oh,
thank you.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So you're the subscriber.
Yeah,
I'm the
it's
subscriber.
Okay.
It's me.
All right. Well, good to know you.
Yeah.
And
good to see you.
Yeah, if you guys like this show, why don't you just tell everyone you know about it and give us a good rating or a review. Reach out. We got a website, lowprofilepodcast.com, and
there are pins too, right?
Yeah, I've got some buttons. I've got some stickers. I'm ordering some stickers of the new logo. I still have a few left of the old one. If you just leave a comment or a review, shoot me an email about it, I will send you some stuff. I've even got some CDR copies of certain episodes.
Oh, wow.
If you want the goods.
I want the goods.
With bonus content, so. But yeah, all those, this is, I guess, episode number 14 of season 1. So you got a lot of stuff to chew on if you haven't heard everything yet.
Yeah, or go back and give some episodes another listen. You know, they're pretty fun.
Yeah, you got a plane travel or something coming up. Download it. Can't wait for season 2 then.
Yeah, me too. So, in the meantime, yeah, we'll see you sometime next year.
Yeah,
we'll be back.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we really love having you here.